A very good morning to everyone. In this video, we are going to study a new lesson of subject science, that is sorting materials into groups. In this chapter, we are going to study classification, properties of materials like lustrous property, hardness and softness, solubility, floating and sinking, and transparency. Let's begin the lesson. We have so many objects around us like chair, table, cooking utensil, water, stone, toys, and many more. There is such a vast variety of objects around us. They are different in shapes, color, and they have different properties. And it is very tough for us to study each object individually. So, we classify them into groups on the basis of certain similarities and dissimilarities, and this is known as classification. Classification is a process of arranging things on the basis of certain similarities and differences. Similarities help us to arrange things in the same group. Differences help us to arrange things into separate groups. Objects are grouped on the basis of properties like lustrous, hardness, softness, transparency, solubility, flotation, etc. Let's study these properties one by one. The first property is lustrous or lustre. Now, what are lustre materials? Lustrous materials are those materials that have a shine on them. Materials that have such luster are usually metals like iron, copper, aluminium, gold, silver. These metals has shining property which is known as luster. Some metals often lose their shine and appear dull because of the action of air and moisture on them. Let's move towards another property of object on the basis which they are classified. When you press different materials with your hands, some of them may be hard to compress while others can be compressed easily. On the basis of this, materials can be grouped as hard or soft material. Hard materials, materials which are difficult to compress are called hard materials. For example, iron, stone, cricket ball, wood. Hard materials cannot be compressed easily, hence they are hard in nature. Second material is soft material. Materials that can be compressed or scratched easily are called soft materials. Soft material can be compressed easily. For example, cotton, wool, rubber ball. Different materials have different solubility in water. Based on their solubility, materials can be soluble, insoluble, miscible, or immiscible. First is soluble substances. Substances that completely dissolve in water are called soluble substances. For example, sugar, salt, vinegar. When you add sugar, salt, vinegar in water, they dissolve in water completely. Insoluble substance. Substances that do not dissolve in water are called insoluble substances. For example, sand, chalk powder. When you add sand or chalk powder in water, they do not dissolve in water. Instead of that, they just settle down at the bottom. Now, miscible and immiscible substances. Soluble and insoluble substances are either solid or liquid, but miscible or immiscible substances are liquid only. What are miscible substances? Liquid that are soluble in water and form a single layer with water are miscible substances. Example, glycerin, vinegar. Miscible liquids are basically soluble in water and they form a single layer with water. Now let's study immiscible substances. Liquids that are insoluble in water and form distinct layers is called immiscible substances. For example, petrol, kerosene. Immiscible liquid basically do not dissolve in water. Instead of that, they form different layers with water. So this is all about the different properties of material on the basis of which they are categorized.